Slava, it's terrific to have you on stage. Thank you for joining me. Same rules apply. We'd like you to give us some opening remarks, and then we will have a Q&A.
Thank you, Stephen. It's a great privilege for me to be here, and thanks, everybody. Certainly, thanks to organizers of YES to invite me here. It's a great honor for me, and it's a great privilege to talk to the audience I see now, one of the best, I think. If you may, I will make my, if you allow me, I'll make my opening remarks in Ukrainian, because the most important thing I want to tell is to my fellow Ukrainians sitting here and listening us and watching us on TV. Ви знаєте, назва
You know, the name of YES conference is translated as yes, but you should not expect any loud political statements from me. It's much more important to start the very subject matter conversation about what we should do further on. You know, every day people ask me about my political future. It's quite often that I hear, especially from politicians and the experts, something like, you know, musicians should sing, while politicians should do the politics. Well, it's been for 27 years when these politicians have been doing the politics, and what can we see? What's the best word would you choose to describe these 27 years? What do? They steal. I mean, to translate it into normal language, their slogan should be let the singers sing, but we will continue stealing. Let the teachers teach, and we will continue stealing. Let the doctors treat patients, and we will continue stealing. Are you ready to accept the situation? I'm not. Tell me, what should I personally do under the circumstances, and especially for you Ukrainians? What choice do you have? Doesn't that remind you a situation when, imagine, you have certain principles, say you're a vegan, you never eat meat, and the only restaurant that you can go to is a steakhouse. You are offered steaks only. You say, you know, I don't eat meat, but they say, you know, we have nothing else, have some salad, and you leave the restaurant either hungry, you have to break your principles and start eating meat. That's what the suggestion is. You either violate your principles or you don't, and you stay hungry. Are you ready? I'm not. What choice do I have? What choice do you have? That's my question to you. Ask this question to yourself. That's why it's very important for me, I believe, to give very honest answer to why it's been for 27 years that everything has been going wrong. At this conference, yes, it's very important to, discuss what is the fastest way to Ukraine to join NATO and EU. I support this idea, how important it is to reject Russian aggression. I'm supporting this. Very important words have been said about the need to grow the economy. Yes, I support all that. But tell me, we are intelligent people. Don't we really understand what are the roots of these problems? Do you know any politicians who, beyond their billboards, has any attempts to get the people back the trust into fairness?
I bet I know the answer, what they will tell you.
Well, the fairness, justice is something that nobody believes in this country. I'm not talking about justice and fairness from the billboards, because you cannot see those billboards because the lights of Mercedes, BMWs, just make you blind. I'm talking about the fairness when you can knock at a door and you'll find a place where you will have this fairness. When we talk about the path towards EU and NATO, by some reasons, we fail to mention about much harder path which should precede the path towards EU and NATO. That's the path towards the rule of law. We haven't taken this path yet, indeed. It's only through talks with the politicians who can tell me that we do have rule of law. I just wonder whether there are any people who believe that today's government or the previous government or pre-previous government have done anything to make all people equal in front of the law. And this equality to the law is the key point for the welfare of the country, to build conditions to make our country strong, to be able to resist any aggression, to deprive this aggression of any sense, no matter who would be who the aggressor would be. Have you ever had a really serious discussion on the subject matter? Look around all these competitive selections around the Supreme Court. Look at all these events around the anti-corruption court, where actually it was just thanks to civil society activists and the international civil society who managed to really persuade the government to establish such a court. Is this really the right way, when we have to just bite with our own teeth to fight for our ideas? Or do we have to request our foreign partners every time to interfere to make the government meet our interests? Why don't they want to take care of these issues? That's what I want to know. I want to know how can we really take this path so that we can start reforming courts, and the reformers are not the former judges. How can we make sure that the future is taken by the hands of people who have the right to form the future? You know, the courts now have only 1% of confidence from the public. Is that normal? You know, 7% somehow trusted them. Does it make any sense to select new judges, to renew the courts when it's done by the people who formerly actually violated the rules of justice? Is that the right way to make everyone trusted? Why the reform of the patrol police was successful? Because it was the new reform. Thus, this is the should be our approach to everything, and the people who are trusted by the public should take the power into their hands.
What I would like, maybe you, Stephen, will ask me that question later, maybe after a meeting. It would be good to talk about what needs to be done further on from now, and what all of us need to be doing, and what I should be doing. Thank you.
Slava, are you ready to eat meat?
I'm not ready to violate my principles.
Is that your way of saying that politics is too messy, too complicated, and you, having thought about it, are going to elegantly back away and watch the fight but not be part of it?
That's what you say.
Well, you know, in a way, we can go back and forth on this, but do you think the Ukrainian people may lose patience with you? They want leaders who have courage, forgive my language, but who have balls and who are ready to make decisions and be tough and lead this country. Are you that person? Because if you are, you're going to have to make your decision very soon. In fact, given that we're all here with you, maybe you should make it today.
I do believe that leaders matter. I do believe that people matter, but much more important is who's standing behind these people. And I know that people who are standing behind me, all of them combined, have courage, power, and force, which is unstoppable. And believe me, we will not stop.
You say we. Right now, you are a man with extraordinary name recognition in this country. Your music is loved by many Ukrainians. You can fill a stadium with 90,000 people. You also are beginning to develop with your think tank a sort of social movement. But really, to be a player in politics, you need a grassroots organization. You need to play politics. So are you ready to play politics?
I'm ready to change my country. I don't think that to play politics is a good wording for things we are talking about. I'm sick and tired of playing politics. They've been playing politics for 27 years. I don't trust them. I don't want us to play politics. I want us to make the stuff, to go to talk to ordinary people, to help them, to use their energy, to use their courage, to make... I'm always asked, who are my experts? I can tell you who my experts. My experts in economics is a guy whom I met from the physics department in Lviv, who just made a PhD and is one of the brightest students, and he cannot find work in this country. So he knows about economics hell of a lot better things, more things that all politicians together. I will tell you who's my expert on education. Is a woman who I met in Odessa, who is absolutely has no choice where to go to which school to bring her child, her small daughter, because she knows that all of these schools are old-fashioned and are being run by the same principles. So she knows a lot about education. I can go further and further and further. So this is not playing politics. This is a serious stuff. If we start playing politics all over again, doesn't matter who will be there, Slava or somebody else. It's not about the person. It's about the principles and also about the ability to get people, all the people on board. Politicians are showing their absolute arrogance for 27 years. They're doing really nothing. They tell us the same thing over and over again, and then they go and sit in their Mercedeses and go back to their villas. Do you think this is playing politics? So I don't want to play politics then.
Let's just be very specific and realistic. You know, in the last 24 hours, we've heard presentations and speeches from the incumbent, President Poroshenko. We've heard from Yulia Tymoshenko today and Anatoly Gritsenko, both of whom are clearly already running for the presidency next year. Are you hearing things from them, the politicians who are already in the race, that appeal to you, that you find credible, that you think will take Ukraine in the right direction, because we are talking about the future of this country? Or are you hearing nothing from any of them that leads you to believe you could put your faith in any one of them?
I already told you that it's a situation where you either need to violate your principles or to stay hungry. I'm not going to violate my principles, and I'm not going to stay hungry. If I didn't love my country, or if I didn't care, I probably wouldn't be sitting here and talking to you. Believe me, it's much better life for anybody like me just to stay away from, as you say, politics. I prefer statecraft, not politics. I don't like word politics. I like statecraft, because that's what we need to do to build up the state. I would prefer sitting somewhere else or doing music, playing concerts. I've been doing that for many years. I was in 2 revolutions. I was a passionate supporter. I was an ordinary person who went to Maidans to change the rules and to bring new, bright people. So what happened? Nothing happened. The same and the same and the same stories being told, and the same political play is being played. The problem is that we need real changes. And these people, all of them, with respect to our, politicians, many of them are great people. Some of them did a great job for the country. But I don't think that today's challenge is enough for them.
But you speak as though you're a complete outsider. I'm just having to remind myself that actually you spent, what was it, 2-3 years in Ukraine?
Just 1 year.
Well, okay, so that's
if you're talking about parliament.
Yeah, I'm talking about the Ukrainian parliament. And then you seemed to lose interest, or you just walked away. I mean, if we are to take you seriously as, let's not say politician, but as a public figure, you have to convince Ukrainians that you have the fire in your belly, you have the commitment to what is a really tough job, and that you are not just going to walk away when you lose interest.
You don't convince people with good words. People don't believe in words. You convince people by your actions. We are going to do a lot of actions soon. First. And second, coming back to...
Okay, but be specific. When you say a lot of actions, what can we expect from you?
So if you want specific things, just have a little patience still. So I think that the most important for us in this situation is not only to say strong slogans, but also to be very wise and to be very pragmatic. So what we are going to do now, and we actually started it right now, is to go and talk to ordinary people. It's the first stage of anything that can be done in this country. You don't need to start over from coming to a big tribune and expressing your thoughts to people. You need to go and listen and get something from them. I actually don't believe that politicians do that. What they do surveys and polls, but that's social science. That's not a real thing. That's not coming with you or with somebody else on beer, or just go to their families and listen to them, what really matters. Not just lines like corruption or a war or economic growth, but real things. Ask them how much they spend for their everyday household needs, how much do they spend for their petrol. I can actually ask politicians here, and I don't know if they know, you can ask all of them, how much do they spend for gasoline every day? I'm not sure that they can answer. And this is, this is the real stuff. And it's not about who is going to be the president, because in this country, it's not the person who will change the country, it's the rules, real rules that's gonna change the country. And I'm going to do whatever needed to change these rules. On every role which is which is pragmatically working, which is successful, I'm going to be there, and we're going to change those rules, and we will do that.
But just a couple of quick questions, which again take you seriously as a public figure, even if at the moment we can't describe you either as as a straight-out politician or indeed a presidential candidate. I am going to take you seriously as a public figure, and on that basis, let me ask you this. Do you think, Slava, that if you were in a position of power in this country, would be able to go onto the international stage and persuade Vladimir Putin that you are a completely credible, serious representative of Ukraine's national interest, a guy that Putin would not be able to kick around, would not be able to manipulate, use, or exploit? Do you have the kind of depth of experience that would allow you, when it comes to Ukraine's conflict with Russia, to be the effective, strong leader that Ukrainians need?
I think that the most important for any leader that comes to lead this country is not to persuade Putin or somebody else. You need to persuade your own people. And when you persuade your own people, when you are cohesive, when the nation is cohesive, I don't think anybody else will be of serious threat. Regarding Russia, I already wrote it in the article. We don't need to underestimate the threat, but we need to understand that the key to solving this problem lies within Ukraine, lies in Ukraine. With all respect to our foreign partners, I really appreciate what they do, and I hope they will continue helping us. But the real key, the most important key, is here in Ukraine, in our reforms, in our minds, in our ability to feel that the state is the right place for them, in level of trust to the state. That's what makes us strong and cohesive. Coming back from my physics background, it just comes to my mind that you have a carbon. A carbon can form either, how you call this, you can write with a pencil and it's carbon.
Lead, the carbon in a pencil,
yeah. Carbon in a pencil, but also carbon makes a diamond.
Diamonds, yeah.
And this is the same structure. I mean, the structures are different, but the same physical material. So you can become a pencil, which can be easily erased, or you can become a diamond, and it's not about some external, forces or external kind of, circumstances. It's just about your structure. So what we don't need to persuade somebody this or that guy is good. We need to change the structure. We need to give faith and to give just to people. Believe me, if you are encouraged and inspired that your country is doing great things, you'll be ready to do everything for your country. There are many examples in the world, even now, that there are countries surrounded by hostile neighbors, and they manage to do very well, contrary to all, you know, difficult circumstances. And it's not about the person, it's about the nation. So what I think is important, are we people, are these new people ready to mobilize the nation? And I think, and I'm sure that we are ready. And then we don't need to convince any other leaders, we just do our job. And they will understand that we are strong.
And another practical question based on your commitment to public life, if not to active political campaigning, is this. We all know that you had a hugely successful career as a rock star. Many people in this room probably have your records, your CDs, your Spotify downloads. Rock and roll stars, such as yourself, usually have had interesting, quote-unquote, lives. This country has a press which sometimes plays dirty with the opponents of people that the press owners don't like. It is likely that if you continue with your public commitment, your public life, every little part of your history is going to get taken apart. Are you ready for that? Are you ready to be in the public spotlight in a way that you haven't been before? And the demands upon you will be immense. Have you thought about that?
This is probably the easiest challenge you'll have in your life if you decide to go to what you call a political play and I don't like, and you start to participate in statecraft. This is the easiest. If you're not ready for that, you just don't even go and sit in this chair. Suddenly I am ready. Moreover, it's important to emphasize that it's not about real life that's gonna make public. Because in my real life, I think that I'm proud of most things that I've done, and those mistakes that I've done are my private mistakes, and I'm ready to, you know, to talk about that openly and honestly. It's more about what they create and fabricate, because that's what they do now in the semi-truth, post-truth situation and society. And you need to have strong guts to oppose that. I don't care. I mean, that's not the price, the real price you need to pay. There is much more important price. Right. And I think that when on the stake is the future of your country, and you want to change your country, and then you say, you know, I'm not ready to expose my private life, so don't go and ask and talk about that
All
here.
right, well, you're clear on that, and you've just said, I am ready. And I just get the sense from this audience, there are a lot of people in this room who find you an extremely interesting personality, and people, I think, in this country, it's fair to say, want to know what you are going to do. So when you say you're ready for that element of public life, when are you going to tell us when you are ready with your decision on whether you're going to run for president? When will you tell us?
The one thing I love from my rock and roll experience, or show business experience if you want, there's not a lot of things that I like there, believe me. That's not the best sphere of life in the world. But there's one thing that I like, and it's ability to keep suspense.
Yeah, but there's a golden moment when you've got it just right and the right time to then come out with a decision. And if you miss that
sometimes it shouldn't be YES conference. Sometimes you just can meet some person on the street and then make a decision just talking to her or to him. I think it's much more important to hear your inner voice in respect to great interviewers than to answer this question being threatened by very popular, very respected interviewer.
You know what? I'm trying to use charm rather than threats, but clearly my charm isn't really getting me very far.
No, you are... You're doing a great job, not only today.
You know what? I think we're getting the signal. We have to end. You know what a fascinating morning. 3 very different personalities. Who knows where they're going to end up over the next 6 months? But I think we're going to follow all 3 of them very closely. And I dare say that if we all meet again next year in, well, I was going to say in Yalta, but we're going to meet next year somewhere. I dare say we will reflect on this morning, and it'll seem even more interesting in retrospect than it seemed at the time. But thank you to Slava, thanks to Yulia and Anatoly. Thank you all.
Thank you very much. Дякую.